Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my presentation. The presentation is a research study on students' attitudes towards the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to measure classroom engagement activities. My name is Caroline Cairo from the University of North Texas. The format of the presentation today will begin with an abstract and a general introduction towards an overview of students' attitude towards use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to measure classroom engagement. We will review the research questions that were used to generate the data. We'll go ahead and also go ahead and look at the literature review of what other researchers have said concerning students' attitude towards artificial intelligence and machine learning. We'll also look at the methodology used to collect the data analysis, discussion on the data analysis, conclusion, and limitations of the study. Artificial intelligence has experienced a major progress in recent years and represents an emerging technology which can be of importance in the education sector and in the health industry. We do find that in the health industry, it's already being used in radiology and other areas. Now, this technology in education has already been introduced into various faculties and various universities, although many teachers are unaware of its scope. So the purpose of the study is to evaluate students' views of artificial intelligence in the classroom engagement. Do they understand what artificial intelligence is or machine learning? Are they aware of its current trend in education and in other sectors? And what their views are, if they are positive or negative. A total of 385 students, which incorporates of 217 female and 168 male, responded to the online survey. And what we found was that 39.6% agreed that artificial intelligence will have positive influence in education. And also we found that 49.48% agreed that artificial intelligence will increase learning and influence learning. We also did find that some respondents believe that the artificial intelligence can be used in various ways, which include tracking students' progress, improving teacher-student interactions, and measuring student-student and student-teacher interactions. The conclusions we concluded was that although artificial intelligence is reality, its application in higher education has not been fully consolidated and evaluated to utilize its benefits. The advancement of technologies and use of various technology platforms in education has resulted in a change of habits by much of the global population and its use in education and learning. And this has resulted in adoption of new ways of reading, communication, writing, and social interactions. We see that, for example, there is a need for education to adapt to current times and technological ways of learning and use of technology to assist in classroom engagement. And today you may find that technology is being used in online learning. Others may call it blended learning or distant learning. And you find that there is an increasing need of the use of online learning and because most people find it convenient, and the institutions of education are able to reach a large number of students despite of their geographical background. So it is important that we realize that the implementation of information and communication technologies in the classroom is a reality and should continue to be so, as highlighted in Ning in her research in 2016. While the traditional classroom teaching mode is being used and still continues to be used, intelligent classrooms will show a great advantage while internet-based learning is increasing. With the increase in technology, it is possible to make students understand the content of the course before the beginning of the course by simulating the form of the real class, creation of lectures, videos, and choosing the design and form of courses according to the student's learning ability and interest in the learning processes. And you can use various skills to design content to meet the learner's preferences as well. In the era of decreasing development of artificial intelligence, the development of artificial intelligence and intelligence in the classroom should not be underestimated. And it is important to see how we can effectively use artificial intelligence. With the diversity of modern living, the needs of the students in the new education are becoming more and more widespread. And it is important to see how can we increase the use of technology to assist these students. It is important to note that, however, that prior to the development of artificial intelligence in education, artificial intelligence was seen as an effective tool in improving the quality of teaching. However, this has not been really implemented because most of the teachers have not yet acquired information or knowledge on how artificial intelligence can impact learning. It is important to note that student motivation and emotion greatly influence their learning and acquisition of knowledge. And we do find that there has been a lot of debates on the use of technology in measuring student engagement, and that there are challenges that certainly face using artificial intelligence in classroom activities and education in general. And that's why we carry this research, just to find out what do students think about artificial intelligence. In the present study, an examination of relationship between the gender attitude towards use of artificial intelligence to measure will be undertaken, and we will find which students prefer the use of artificial intelligence, the male or the female. There is minimal research on whether students are generally concerned about artificial intelligence and the attitudes toward artificial intelligence and machine learning, and how it does directly or indirectly help in measuring classroom engagement. It is hypothesized that male students have a higher positive attitudes on use of artificial intelligence in measuring classroom engagement and the collection and study of brain activity than female students. The research questions included what are the students' attitudes towards artificial intelligence and machine learning? And to what extent do students are they concerned about the long-term storage of their brain activity? And how do they view artificial intelligence and machine learning has been used? Other questions included, do they think that artificial intelligence and machine learning is essential in education? And evaluation of their views on what they think of artificial intelligence in education and in classroom engagement as well. We did find in the literature review that focusing on fears, people associate artificial intelligence with the Terminator movie, and that it would cause human extinction or lack of need of humans to carry out various activities. There is a general consensus that artificial intelligence has a potential to not only rule the world, but also control human actions. And there's also a concern that the use of artificial intelligence devices could destroy humanity and replace people in certain activities, as was found in the research by Obra and Gehrhes in 2018. Now, this can be avoided by the revising of goals of artificial intelligence and machine learning and the education of students and instructors on its importance and how they can achieve various objectives that are beneficial to the human being. Students have been using artificial intelligence for a long time, but their lack of awareness will be due to its various definitions, which include smart tutoring tools, as explained by Dubole in 2016. Now, this may be instances whereby students study a course or course content online, and the technology system helps them monitor their progress, level of understanding of a course content, areas of remedial learning, and recommendations on additional resources needed to increase learning. In a research done in 2018, majority of the respondents who knew what artificial intelligence was were male students, according to Gaze in 2018, and he reported that 95.5% of male respondents said that they know what the notion of artificial intelligence is, or general meaning, as compared to 75.6% of the females. In other words, you can see that the male students are more informed on the topic of artificial intelligence than female students. Now, we do know that based on the research is that artificial intelligence can help provide adaptive support to the learner and adaptive curriculum sequencing, which would help create personalized learning. We do see that educational systems can be used to depict when using artificial intelligence can be used to depict student cognition, knowledge, mental models, and display their knowledge structures, learning habits, and learning abilities, as discovered by Tang in his research in 2019. Now, with this knowledge, this artificial intelligence can help improve personalized mentoring systems and allocation of learning resources and activities, thereby helping the teacher and students have a better understanding of oneself to improve the learning outcome. Artificial intelligence can also help in development of adaptive learning environments and other tools aid in making complex learning engagements simple to understand and interpret, thus effectively reveal the process of learning. And as you can see in figure 1, the classroom interactive system based on artificial intelligence as devised by Tang, you find that there's the classroom AI interactive system, and we do have, there's an interactive mode, student participation measurement, innovation capability measurement, practical abilities, and how the teacher student engage in the whole process. So with that, we see that the teamwork is important also when using artificial intelligence. And the artificial intelligence tool can help to address uncertainty and solve complex problems that influence interactions and feedback, whereby the intelligence system can be used to find optimal teams to assist in solving problems. And you can see that in the next figure, as described by Alberola in 2016. Now, the tools may also be used to measure emotional judgment of the students in relation on how they relate to other teams, because emotions have an important part in the human mind and they can be used to reflect the positive and negative attitudes of activities in classroom and the degree of acceptance of learning content of or learning activities in the classroom as the students engage in learning and in collaborative skills with each other. Looking at the methodology for the research study, uh, an online survey through Portrix was used to collect data, internet survey, and the survey was targeting undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate education, and students in the undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate education. A total of 385 students responded to the survey. It was voluntary to participate in the survey. We had instances where some professors talked to the students to go ahead and conduct the survey. IRB was approved to go ahead and collect the data, and the data was analyzed using SPSS. And the questionnaire was accessible online, and the percentage of response of the respondents' answers was based on rating scale. From the data analysis, looking at the demographics, we find that 67% of the respondents were between the ages of 18 to 25 years of age. And the minimum number of respondents was those 50 years and above, which was 4.16%. And we find that also there was a majority number of students who responded who are between 34 and 41 years of age. Now, when asked to self-report on their technology savviness, we find that 56.25% agree and 20.57% strongly agree. So if you combine those two figures, we see approximately 86% or 87% rounding total do believe that they are tech savvy. When looking at their knowledge on artificial intelligence and machine learning, we find that most of them have heard from various sources about artificial intelligence and machine learning. So it's not a new subject to them. And they have heard it from various media. We do find that majority of them did say that they have heard from the media sources like television or maybe my presentations through media. Majority of them also said that they have heard through social media like Twitter, Facebook. But looking at it, we find that there's a very small percentage of those who've heard about artificial intelligence and machine learning from lectures or formal training in the classroom. And when you look at how the information was presented, most of them, they did say that the information was presented positively. And we could presume that 46.7% say the information was presented, there was a neutral presentation of the information, maybe due to their lack of knowledge to effectively analyze if the information was presented correctly or there was positive outlook on the way the information was presented on artificial intelligence and machine learning. But it is good to see that most of them do agree at least the information was presented to them, so they are aware that artificial intelligence and machine learning does exist. When asked to give their views on how artificial intelligence is growing, the knowledge is increasing, and how they think about the use of artificial intelligence and its development, current development in the world, we do find that 54.19% of the students, they say, well, it's good, doing well. And we do find there's a small percentage that disagree about its development. So this also shows that they are aware that there's increase in development of artificial intelligence in various activities. Now, when they are asked about their concerns or what they think about artificial intelligence in education, we do find that there is a small percentage who are concerned that about artificial intelligence. For example, 8.33% strongly agree that there's a rapid growth in it, and they are not concerned. So they're not concerned really about its development. And we find that 28.65% they disagree, that they are concerned. So we took a look at the total of disagree and strongly disagree. We find that 38%, 39% are not concerned about its development. But looking at the number of the undecided, you see it's a large number as well, 27.86%. They are undecided. And looking at the number of those who agree, they are concerned, it's 33%. So there's a close tie between those who agree and those who do not agree. And it's necessary to note that as well. Other major concerns was that when they were asked about artificial intelligence, that it should be part of teacher training, you find that most of them are 36.39% were undecided. However, we find that 36.13% agree that artificial intelligence should be part of teacher training, and 11.26% strongly agree. So we can say in total, we have 47% do agree that the teachers need to be trained on artificial intelligence and machine learning. And you can see there's a strong tie as well in those two. When asked about artificial intelligence being used to measure classroom engagement, we do see that 55.21% agree and 11.72% strongly agree. So we can see a total of agreement. If we put the agree and to strongly agree together as an average, you can see that 66% do agree that it does help in classroom engagement. So we do need to go ahead and start implementing and seeing how artificial intelligence can help us in online learning activities, in synchronous group discussions and asynchronous group discussions, to be able to encourage students to learn and collaborate in learning. And we still see that also there's a huge number of students who agree that artificial intelligence can be used to improve teacher-student engagement, which is a total of 50% of the students. Now, when asked on how artificial intelligence can be used in education, we see majority of them did agree, that 5.79%, that it can be used to track student progress. It can be used to provide insight to instructors, activities, help in monitoring activities for students, and help in lessons and assignments for students. However, most of them did not agree it can be used to form adaptive conversations. So overall, we can say that majority of the students indicate a lack of fear of artificial intelligence replacing the teacher or instructor, and the artificial intelligence will help improve learning. Knowledge and understanding of key principles in artificial intelligence are designed as stated by Pinto dos Santos with his colleagues in their research in 2018. It shows that it is important to be able to know the key principles in artificial intelligence, and machine learning is important in student education. It is important for educators to be trained on its benefits of artificial intelligence, since majority of the students are aware of its current use in education and its positive influence in learning and in teaching. Now, in conclusion with this, there were some limitations to the study. First and foremost, stratified random sampling was used to collect data, as only one university was used to collect the data. So suggestions for further studies could be having more groups of students from different universities, and also including technical schools, colleges, trade schools, and doing a comparative study and see what are the views of students in technical schools, colleges, trade schools across the region and across countries. There should also be studies on the differences in attitudes between university students, two-year college students, and instructors as well. Thank you. The rest are my references. I would like to acknowledge the assistance I got to be able to successfully go ahead and do this presentation. First of all, is to Mr. Raymond Pila, who helped in giving suggestions on a topic for this research paper, and Dr. Kaplan Rakowski and Dr. Lee, who also helped in the distribution of the online survey to collect data for this research study. Thank you. Have a good day.